It's a beautiful sunny day, so I decided to get some work done to the CJ. Number one, actually did this last weekend, but it was cold and raining. I just knocked it out. New exhaust is fully on. Catalytic converter fits under the heat shield to the down pipe. That guy right there, this is I cut off the old air pump bung because with the fuel injection don't need that, and welded on a tab and then covered it in the epoxy exhaust, I guess, flange putty. I'm not real sure, but I figured a little bit of extra will help. So I don't want an exhaust leak this close. Right, coming up here, this is the new Holley O2 sensor. Put it in the stock location. I think they wanted a little bit further down, but reading about some other CJs, people say this works right here, and there's already a bung. So if I get bad readings, I can always move it. It'd be a little harder with the body on, but I kind of like the idea of reusing the existing hole. Here's the EGR. I'm gonna get hooked back up soon enough. And this is the Holley Sniper EFI in the BBD style, meant for the CJs, or I guess meant for the AMC 258. I am very excited about this. I had the air cleaner on the other day, but I took it off to clean it and paint it as it was kind of grimy. Yeah, moving into a Amazon 90-degree fitting, and then some Earl's Vapor Guard EFI line. Not sure I'm going to keep it run this way. I might go over, I might go behind the new heater hose. We'll see, but for the time being, I was going to put the fan back on. Don't know if it's going to cut, but for the time being, I wanted to just hook everything up and keep dust at the line. This is the new Holley temp gauge. Went into the spot of the old gauge that went to the who knows what old emission system. And I bought a new 3-point CTE valve. I'm gonna put Teflon tape on that. Wanted to keep the evap canisters, I'm gonna park it in my garage, and the EGR, because I don't want to pass emissions and I want to keep it stock-ish. Coming around fuel line, kind of just dangling for right now. Might not leave it, I might leave it. I've got it run into the frame, and I put some old garden hose around it so it won't rub on the frame. It goes through the frame, lots of protection, and pops out back here and hooks up to the new tank. And it took me a few minutes to figure this exhaust out too, because my old exhaust dumped right down here, and honestly probably would have gotten in the way of the new 2-inch receiver. So probably a good idea that it stuck out over here. I think this is an exhaust for an 85 and 86, and this is an 83 frame. But the other fun thing going on, because it's 74 degrees right now, is here's my makeshift paint setup. Using the correct stuff to do it the wrong way. My Harbor Freight gun for $30, and then my Eastwood primer. And I bought some good single component or single stage urethane. But stepping into the booth, today we got the new dash, some stuff I pulled off the old body, the cowl intake, which is harder to paint than it looks. This is all in primer right now. Windshield hinge, new grill, other windshield hinge. And I'm doing it completely the wrong way. This is a pancake compressor, and you're supposed to use like an industrial 60-gallon, and this is a 6-gallon. When I do the tub, I'm gonna learn my lesson. I think I'm gonna daisy chain 2 together. This is from one buddy, and I got another buddy that lets me borrow his. So we'll see what happens. But I took my painter's plastic, the good old 0.31 mil, and did on here. There's so much dirt in here. Thankfully that's under the plastic. We get 40, 50 mile per hour winds in my city, and it blows unbelievably hard, and I get so much dirt in here. This is a pretty cool setup. This tent was $259 from Harbor Freight, and then these lights for $13 that, funny enough, are on, but you can't tell in the video. Nope, a little thin spot on the primer, although honestly I'm not worried about the primer. These things came pre-primed, and I'm putting a nice 2K urethane primer for adhesion. And don't know if you can see it on video. I think you can see some. I don't clean my paint gun that well, so I usually start painting the back side of a part because this blew all the trash out, and this is going behind the dash. I'm not even going to paint this real well back here, but there it is. And something that's missing that I'm trying to figure out. There's no studs for the speedo gauge or the speakers, which makes sense. It's an aftermarket part. It came with the tub. But you come over here to the original dash, and I've got studs. And I'll say this dash was in good shape. I could have reused it, but somebody cut it for a full single DIN CD player, which I thought about keeping. But at my grandmother's, in her old barn, I think it belonged to one of my uncles, was a post-style tape deck. And I'm gonna get on eBay and buy some cool little tapes, and I'm gonna have a tape deck in the CJ. And as well as I'm gonna hide a Bluetooth under the dash. The marine ones are about 50, 60 bucks, and I'm gonna switch it. So if I wanna be cool and listen to a tape, I can. Yes, this thing's hanging upside down, but here's the 2 gauges, and then here's the post-style radio. So the tape deck will go in here, and the volume, the tuner will go on each side. And then you get 2 little speakers. And top down summer ride and getting to listen to some classic rock on a tape. And I'll turn this back on when I get the blue color on. Hopefully it'll look good. Painting update. Kind of hard to see with the lighting, but this is the nice blue. Something I did run into though is using this really tiny compressor. There's lots of standing back waiting for it to power back up. And I got some runs one time when I let it power back up and then hit it, so I'll sand these out. These are the original window hinges. They're nice and thick compared to the aftermarket ones, so wanted to make sure I reuse these. The grill took a lot of air to paint as well. You gotta go up and down every one of these things on 3 sides. Here's the cowl vent. It's actually made of plastic. Let's see if I can get a close up on the color. That's a little better. Here's the VIN plate for the windshield. I taped over the VIN tag, and I'll pull the tape off here later. Got these guys painted as well. The supports. Uh-oh, could have done a little better, but I'm not too worried about it. New glove box. Sorry, the lighting's kind of terrible for doing this. Yep, making progress. I'll probably put these parts in the house again because I live alone and I do what I want. Next up is painting the hood, the roll bar, getting the body set on the chassis, and painting the body. And then it's reassembly. Exciting times.